the whole steampunk phase, if that word kind of means anything, imagine if the Victorian era had fully embraced diesel and steam to create the sort of technology of today, but back then. So there's a Steampunk World's Fair that's happening in a couple of weeks, and you'll see all these wonderful decked out reimaginations. One Comic-Con we had Steampunk Hawkman. So Hawkman from DC Comics got the giant wing, he's got a helmet that looks like a bird, and he carries a giant mace. So someone went to Home Depot for about $100 and made these copper-plated wings that would fold out, almost like a parachute. He made the helmet out of leather, out of tin straps, by going through the plumbing section, using plumber's putty to keep it all together. And he got the costume right. It looked like Hawkman, but it looked as if Hawkman had been hammered and forged rather than made with alien technology. It was a fun way to create a new setting for a similar character.
Speaking of steampunk, do you remember that year you hosted the costume contest? And my group, we did Steampunk Avengers.
Yes.
Our Thor was a blacksmith,
Yes.
if you get it, because he has the hammer. Our Black Widow was actually a widow.
Okay.
So she was in a black gown, mourning. And our
Tiny 19th century shooter guns.
But you know, things like that, like you said, like the elements that people can get the joke of that. You know, we did things like that with our costumes. Funny enough, Carl was at that show.
Yep. Posting with you in it. That's how we met.
Right, and now these hand-forged copper costumes that you're talking about, the average person who's looking to get into cosplay probably is not going to have the leather punch and the metalworking tools and Mjolnir to forge their metal. So if people out here want to get into cosplay, what is a good first step in making your costume or picking a costume that's easy to make?
Thrift stores and eBay. The best way ever to find pieces to be able to remake them and shape them into what you want them for. I mean, I've done a couple schoolgirl uniforms where it's like I need a gray or blue, like pleated schoolgirl skirt. You know, why would I drive myself crazy trying to make this when I can just go out and get it from like a thrift store from someone who grew out of their school uniform or something.
Save the time, save the money.
Save the money. I mean, I got the skirt for $2. That's amazing. I can't even get like a yard of fabric for that much. Like, so it's the easiest place, and then you'll find people who are even selling, you know, pieces of their costume on eBay or Amazon or Etsy even, and it's just a really good stepping stone into cosplay. You don't break the bank, you don't go crazy trying to learn how to sew in a month before the convention. It's easy.
Like she was saying about going to thrift stores, a cosplayer's favorite friend when they go into a thrift store is looking at the shoe section. If you know, like getting a specific like boot or heel, like going on websites, you'll see that the price for these shoes are like $50, $100, $200. I know, you know, I spent about that much just for one pair of shoes. Thrift store will have a generic white go-go boots that normally are $50 shoes that I got a pair for $5 that were in my size. But other places to get, like she was saying on the internet, there's communities on Facebook where you can join groups that people are selling their used costumes, wigs. Wigs are a big factor into cosplay. Wigs are, you know, nowadays it's easy access to get a wig on the internet. I mean, you can get on eBay a long wig for $10.
In our day, you had to scalp senpai and you were grateful for it.
And just to illustrate, how many people up here are using their natural hair right now? Okay, so so all the people dressed up, we are all wearing wigs, and each of us has a wig drawer or a wig bin.
I actually have a costume room to store all my cosplays.
That's the cosplayer dream.
It's terrifying. I mean, sometimes if your deadline is the big show, the big convention you're going to meet all your friends at, sometimes time and money work against you, and then sometimes when you have the time, it's fun to teach yourself a new skill. My fiance wanted to do these big white boots for a very specific video game. We got boots the exact right size, but the straps were in the wrong place, they were the wrong color. 2 weeks later on the couch with just a fabric ripper and then teaching herself, borrowing one friend's sewing machine for the evening, she got the boots to work, and it was terrifying how she showed me the composite costume when she got it ready. So it was a character named Clear from a game, Dramatical Murder. Children will talk about it later on. So it requires a World War I gas mask. Found it on eBay. It required a white mask. She took one of white wig, sorry. So she trimmed up one of her longer wigs to get the shape right. It required a clear umbrella. $3 at a local Rite Aid. It required the boots that she made. When she showed me how she had gotten the costume together, she waited for me to come out of the shower one night. So she's standing there in umbrella, white boots, and breathing heavily into this 1940s World War I gas mask from a military surplus store. Now, I know for a fact there's a tiled wall behind me in the shower. My legs know they cannot propel me through that tiled wall. They tried anyway. But she got to wear that the next week at Anime Next, and it was a big hit for her because she had taught herself all these new skills just for this one costume. But skills that she can bring into something else later on, like altering, who knows, a wedding dress maybe for next year.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
All right, and on that we're going to tangent a little bit because Carl brings up something that a lot of cosplayers know and a lot of people going into cosplay. It's the cosplay spouse or significant other.
Behind every great cosplayer in a bikini, there is one dude carrying 50 pounds of luggage in alternative switch-out costumes. On all the arms. And bless him for his efforts.
All right, so if you are a cosplay spouse or cosplay significant other, raise your hand.
We feel your pain, we recognize it.
All right, so let's just tangent a little bit and tell me some stories about your significant others and the horrible things you have forced them to do.
Enter Queen and Entourage, as is written in every Shakespearean play.
Now, YuffieBunny, you mentioned the wall of purses.
Bless every significant other that goes to a convention with their boyfriend or girlfriend who has to hold purses, bags, a drink, you name it. They are absolute rock stars. I cannot tell you how many times I've had to hand purses off to my boyfriend or a friend, and the second they take it, they're just like what do you have in this, like bricks? I mean, we are bringing a lot to the conventions, you know, cameras, everything, makeup in there, but it's hilarious, and bless my boyfriend for carrying my purse constantly. I mean, because we get stopped for photos, like, you know, every few feet at these conventions, and you don't always want, like, your giant, you know, bag hanging on your shoulder for these photos. Plus, they get really heavy after a while, so...
And if you're a hardcore cosplayer, you may have 3 outfits for the weekend, or multiple outfits in one day.
Oh, yeah.
Or there was a great one of 2 friends that I ran into at Otakon. They were doing King Arthur from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and Patsy, who is next to King Arthur the whole time, the guy who's banging the coconuts and has that massive carrying case, it was all of their luggage strapped to the poor guy's back. Like, we're gonna do a group costume, that's awesome, what are we gonna be? Like Green Arrow and Green Lantern? Remember that movie from last summer? You're gonna help really well.
Unfortunately, my boyfriend does not like to carry my bags. Some of my friends know that my boyfriend doesn't, you know, he actually got me to the point to make me sew pockets into my cosplays, so I didn't have to bother him to hold my wallet or purse or whatever. But I have a specific book bag that I carry around, like a little tiny book bag. It's an anime book bag. That is my to-go bag, so it stays out of the way of pictures.
Yeah, and that's another really clever idea when you're putting together your first costume. It's always great to have a bag your character might actually carry. Nothing looks sillier than, you know, the guy in his perfect head-to-toe Spider-Man outfit who's carrying a black Jansport backpack. Or the girl in the Sailor Moon outfit that's doing her perfect Sailor Moon pose, and between her feet is some, you know, crummy old tote bag. That's, you know, it's the same thing that she got.
She's got the wheelable luggage. Yes, I'm Sailor Moon. I just flew back from it.